Everybody, welcome back. Today we're going back in time, guys. We're gonna do the Incredible Hulk issue 204 from the 70s, and time is the subject of this one-shot filler. It is a filler, but it's a good one. Let's dive in. It's done by Len Wein, Herb Trimpe, Joe Staton, and a lot of other people. So the Hulk is coming back to Gamma Base because he wants to get his girlfriend, Jarella. And that happened all before this, right? So General Ross comes in with the soldiers. Of course, Hulk fights back and he throws this piece of metal at General Ross, but then, he's a little bit overzealous. And Hulk grabs it. And he threatens him if he doesn't get Jarella back, he's gonna do some bad things, right? He says, but we can, Hulk. For our own safety, we placed her in isolation. But then this is happening. This is some kind of a bubble filled with somna gas, whatever that is. But I like the fiction in science fiction a lot when it comes to comic books. But it was more like a video recording. That's what we called the old people back in the day, video recordings. As Dr. Banner basically relives what happened before he, as the Hulk, became unconscious. And then there is this scientist called Professor Kronus, and he had a device that can undo all these things. So he asked Dr. Banner if he wants to do it, but he doesn't know. But General Ross comes in and he says, good Lord, man, do you know what you're saying? The Hulk almost finished me during that last encounter, yet you give up the chance to be free of him. Don't you realize what's at stake here? So even Betty, who is now, I believe in this timeline, married or is engaged to Talbot Ross here, not to Bruce. And she says, hey, they spent millions on this project, Bruce, money that could have been devoted to the sick and the hungry. You owe it to the world to go through with this, Bruce. You owe it to yourself. But Bruce says, listen, I cannot make this decision. I need to speak with Jarella. This affects her as much as it does me. So he says, well, get on with it, Banner. Time is running out, says Ross. So he goes to Samson. He gives him some kind of a suit. And Samson says that she is safe. Jarella comes from the microverse, right? And basically, he almost married her. And I must say, Jarella is probably one of the better characters in the Hulk universe. I just hate the word universe, but you know what I'm trying to say. And she supports him constantly. She's in love with the Hulk, but also with Bruce because she thinks it's the one and the same. Right, because he loves both of them, and she's now here at the from the microverse into the real world, and I believe she is here behind lock and key because of maybe the environment or the oxygen, the air is polluted, and it's something I'm not entirely sure, but he tried to explain it, right, and he is afraid that he is losing her. So she says, please, Bruce, don't turn your back on me. You're foolish, dear. What you look like does not matter to me. It's the man inside the skin I love. If destroying the Hulk will ease your spirit, you must do it. I'll be waiting for you when you are done. It's a perfect girl. Perfect woman. All right, so all has been said. So they agreed to do it. And but what Bruce doesn't know that he needs to go back in time to relive the event of the gamma explosion. He says, what? Think about it, Doctor. If you return to your past, armed with the knowledge of what happened then you can avoid the inevitable. This time, you have sought adequate shelter long before the blast is triggered. This time, when the gamma bomb explodes, you will not be caught in a radiation blast. Of course, Bruce thinks that something goes wrong, but he says, well, then we do it again, right? Because that's the beauty of time travel. All right, and he's calling himself Kevin Kronus, and he gives his word that everything's going to be all right. So they built this contraption, this time bubble, right? on the bomb side where it all happens, right? Because he needs to go back to Gamma Base that is now destroyed, of course. But yeah, so Kronus mentioned some, that is the time shuttle is programmed to automatically pull Bruce back when he's completed his mission. All right, so they're going to prepare for it. And he says, you're comfortable, Dr. Banner? I'll be more comfortable if this apparatus was built closer to the ground, Professor. Frankly, my boy, the last thing we want is to be in contact with the surface. The very essence of time travel is in isolation. All right. Now remember, Dr. Banner, you will have total recall of everything that occurred to you on that fateful day so many years ago. And thus you will be fully aware of the changes it is necessary for you to repair your damaged lives. All right, so he says, don't worry, you won't feel a thing. And, but, also, although Bruce is also working on this, technology, he doesn't feel a thing, and he's not sure if it's working. The time shuttle is already at work, Doctor, bending the lines of temporary force around you in a parabolic funnel. But I don't feel any different, Professor. In fact, I don't feel anything. There is no friction in time travel, my boy, and thus no sensation of passage. And then he is arriving at the moment right before the bomb is, it's a testing ground, right? So General Ross shouts, Banner, you gutless milksop. Why we don't have these insults anymore in comics, right? And so he is there sweating when the timer goes back to 0. And then, of course, hey, there is some kid in a jalopy riding right onto the field. Bruce knows exactly what he's doing, and he says, you fool, this bomb test site, get out of here fast. But then normally he would help Rick Jones throwing over this into this, it's more like a, what's that word? Not behind the shielded concrete, or whatever this is, this barrier. But he throws him in some kind of a ditch. I'm not sure what the word is, but they're digging out some dirt so that people can just throw themselves into when some kind of a blast is going on, and avoiding the blast and probably not radiation. But he's confident that he is that Rick can do it because he's fast, right? Fortunately, it's not the case. Rick didn't survive it. Sweet heaven, he didn't make it behind the barrier in time. He is dead, and it's my fault, he says. And he's shouting at the heavens and cursing everything around him. He says, I wanted to pay the price, but not like this. And then he's just falling apart because of all the stress. He is, unconscious. But then he's back in, the current time. And he says, poor Rick. Kronus. It works, but the cost. Be calm, my boy. Let your head clear a bit, and then we'll discover every detail. This is most momentous occasion, the first successful journey through time. But Bruce is all over the place, right? The strain is too much for him, and he's calling himself and all the people murderers because he killed Rick Jones. So the doctor's checking in, and he says, he keeps muttering him out. Someone or something called the Hulk. He's heavily sedated, by the way. And worse, he keeps mentioning the incident during the gamma bomb test several years ago when he failed to save a poor Rick Jones boy. I'm afraid Bruce Banner is a very sick man. But then Kronus comes in and he says, you ruined my experiment, Banner, destroyed my life's work, and now I have my revenge. I said, wait a minute, what do you mean you ruined it? It was a complete success. So I no longer am merely current Kronus woman, for I have become the very master of time. With my newfound power, I can make your entire life so go by in a millisecond. Or I can make your most terrible agony endure for an age. Or I can devolve you into a creature that time has long forgotten. So he turns him into the Hulk, and he wants to defeat the Hulk. I said, why would you do that? The Hulk attacks him, and he calls him the Clockman, right? He says, he's still standing? Of course, monster. You could destroy this entire city before you can injure the temporal man. So he's going them back in time because there's innocent people here, so he's not completely evil. So they're going back to the land of 1 million years BC. So Hulk says, well, I'm a jungle with lizards. But isn't it dinosaurs you have to worry about, Brute? It's Kronus. So he has also superpowers or something because he's hitting the Hulk in the face. Bah, Hulk will crush puny Clockman like a bug. Mindless fool, I only need to move an instant form in time to avoid anything you can toss at me, but I prefer the satisfaction of defeating you in my own unique fashion. To eliminate the threat of that rock, for example, I simply move it 1 billion years back through time when it was forged from molten lava, or even countless years ahead to the upcoming Ice Age. The blink of an eye and the ice is gone, Brute, but I trust I made my point. This is a cool shot, by the way. How can you hope to defeat a man who bends time to his very will? A man who controls ages with an iron hand. But he says, you got one chance to hit me. Strike me if you dare. But he does exactly that, right? So he's then punching the Clockman real hard. Get up before Hulk smashes to a pulp. But then he devolves back to Bruce Banner. Dear Lord, why is there blood on my hands? What have I done? It's Kronus' helmet. It's cracking open like an eggshell. And inside it's... No, it's not possible. I must be going mad, he says, and he sees the face of Rick Jones. Dear God, I killed him again. I killed him. And he's shouting, but it was all a nightmare. Only a nightmare. No, it's more than that, Betty, much more. Forgive me, Betty, but there's something I have to do. So he's driving again to the time bubble, right? I got to go back, try to correct my mistake. It's not too late. I can be too late. I got all the time in the world. So he is going through that one more time, throwing this time Rick behind the shield. And that, when the gamma bomb explodes, he's being exposed to the full gamma radiation. And then he's going back to the current time. And Kronus comes in. Banner, are you all right? As well as can be expected, Professor, all things considered. Did everything go well, my boy? Did you make the necessary adjustments? He says, no, I didn't destroy the Hulk. He and I are still soulmates for the duration. But at least that I can live with. That, my friends, is the end of the book. Yes, I like that a lot, So there is consequences if you try to alter time, even if it's for your own benefits, right? It always has a cost. And Bruce Banner doesn't want to bear that cost, because it eats at his very soul. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.